Posed as the vain and mercenary woman she was, the model had lost much of her appeal. At the same time, Gio was, however, uneasily accustomed to the keen interest that his spectacular good looks invariably invoked. He had not a shred of vanity on that score. Indeed, he actively despised the familiar image that met him in the mirror, because it reminded him sickeningly of his brutal, toxic father. The lustrous black hair, the hard, chiseled jawline, the classic nose, and exotic high cheekbones, teamed with unusual ice-blue eyes, turned the heads of both men and women in the street. That same night at a Manhattan party, when he was literally ringed by a circle of beautiful women vying for his attention, Fabian, one of Gio's friends, rolled his eyes to say, "You have got it made. Any woman you want, whenever, however. I don't think you appreciate just how lucky you are. If I weren't rich and single, I wouldn't be half as appealing," Gio retorted with innate cynicism and an acute sense of boredom. He thought instead of the magnificent freedom of walking the beach at his rarely used house in Norfolk, England, of the cool, refreshing breeze and the isolation there. He needed a break. That awareness in mind, he checked the time in the UK before calling the caretaker to instruct her to set the house up for his arrival the coming weekend. In an anxious tone of apology and audible dismay at his unforeseen request, Miss Jenkins confided that she had broken her ankle and would need to find someone else to ensure that the coastal mansion was prepared for his occupation. Apologizing for the short notice he was giving her, Gio voiced his sympathy and immediately offered a substantial amount of extra cash that the older woman could use to persuade someone trustworthy to take on that necessary task and get it done in time. As always, he mowed down any hint of opposition like a steamroller that simply refused to be redirected. Life since adulthood had made Gio highly unfamiliar with disappointment, and even a disturbing hint of that possibility was sufficient to make him more determined than ever to leave the business world and designing women behind for a few days and enjoy that energizing breeze. Leah tempted Spike out from behind the chair. "Come on, the vet's gone home. You don't need to be nervous because you've had all your treatment now," she murmured soothingly. A scruffy, three-legged Yorkshire Terrier with an incongruous purple bow on top of his tufty head crept into view. He was exceedingly small and very scared. He was terrified of all men, even of the kindly vet, but that didn't stop him from trying to sneak up behind unsuspecting males and nip them in the back of the leg. Luckily for his victims, Spike had few remaining teeth after years of neglect. As he surged into her arms, she lifted him to pet him, while she absently listened to the conversation her former foster mother, Sally, was having on the phone with her sister, Pam Jenkins. "Absolutely silly money," Sally was proclaiming, her round, good-natured face below her halo of grey curls full of incredulity. "Clearly the man has more money than sense, but Leah can do it, of course she can. A bit of shopping, a bit of cleaning, a few beds to make up. Not a problem, Pam. Will you please stop worrying about it now? Of course the man's not going to sack you just because you broke your ankle." Sally came off the phone. "The gazillionaire is coming." Leah grinned at the announcement, sitting back on her heels, a cascade of glossy dark ringlets framing her oval face, and then tumbling back across her shoulders, her big brown eyes dancing. "So I gathered, and I assume that I'm going to carry out Pam's usual work for her?" "Yes, she's got a shopping list that he forwarded to her. Says it's the usual fancy stuff you'll have to go into town to find." "My goodness, do you realize what this means?"